top Canadian security officials gave an update today on potential interference in the federal election. The task force monitoring those threats spoke in Ottawa earlier, and the CBC's Mark Carkasole joins us now. So, Mark, what did we hear?
Well, Andrew, first let's give people a refresher on who we're talking about here. The SITE Task Force stands for Security and Intelligence Threats to Elections. This task force has been in effect since 2019. It's made up of various security and intelligence analysts. They report to a panel of 5 senior government officials. Now, in the inquiry into the report on foreign interference, Justice Marie-Josée Hogg called for the panel to be more vocal. They were always speaking out publicly when they saw any threats to the fairness of our elections, but she asked for them to be a little more public in their work. And that might be why we've received 2 briefings from them over the last 2 weeks. The latest briefing coming today, one of the members of that panel, Lori-Ann Kempton, she's an assistant secretary to the Cabinet for Privy Council Office, reports that right now they are seeing no incidents of interference that have impacted Canada's ability to have a free and fair election thus far, which is pretty good news. However, that doesn't mean there haven't been any attempts. She cited threats and intimidation towards candidates, and she talked about one effort based around fake news articles and ads that have these sensational headlines. I'm sure you've seen them online and on social media. When you click on them, they lead to scams, and she spoke a little bit about those.
Cyber criminals have become experts at leveraging timely events and using sophisticated techniques to trick people into sharing personal or financial information. This can lead to incidents like phishing scams. The best way for Canadians to protect themselves is to learn how to spot disinformation and scams like phishing.
The panel also spoke about their concerns with another practice called transnational repression. This is when foreign governments target diaspora here in Canada through various pressure tactics, targeting political dissidents, human rights defenders, activists, scholars, and many others abroad, using online harassment, social media smear campaigns, even doxing. They've even seen AI used in some cases, used to doctor actual commercial material to change things like news articles, advertisements, things like that. Larissa Galadza of the Global Affairs Canada Bureau talks about how they deal with TNR, as they call it.
When we see this activity, we take several steps to try and stop it. First off, we work with the National Counter Foreign Interference Coordinator at Public Safety Canada to alert targeted individuals so that they can take the steps necessary to protect themselves. The coordinator also proactively engages with communities and other affected individuals who are at risk of digital TNR. We also alert social media platforms where potentially harmful content about this individual is proliferating and where it may violate their terms and conditions.
And a couple quick updates before we go, Andrew. You heard Ms. Galadza speak about social media there. I don't know if you'll remember last week we reported on this, and the Chief Electoral Officer of Elections Canada had mentioned that he had written to the big social media platforms to ask for their cooperation in keeping our election fair and safe. He did hear back from TikTok Canada, Snap, and X, all of which said they are taking measures to try to protect Canadians against misinformation and disinformation in regards to our election process. And also, the panel talked about one of the bigger stories of the day, which is Liberal candidate Paul Chang publicly encouraging people to take Conservative candidate Joe Tay to the Chinese embassy to collect on a bounty. They say it's not under their purview as to whether Chang should remain as a Liberal candidate. That's up to Mark Carney. But they say that China offering up that bounty is a sign of, as we mentioned again, transnational repression.
Mark, thank you. The CBC's Mark Carkasole.